What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be going over the fights to make after UFC 299. So, first off, Sean O'Malley, I think his next fight should be Ilia Topuria. Now, I know people are going to shit on me for thinking this because, you need to defend your belt in your division, which I agree for anybody but Sean O'Malley and Ilia because these are once in a decade fighters. Ilia might be a once in a lifetime kind of fighter. This is a massive fight. I say book it. If Sean loses, then he's gonna fight Marab anyway, and he's gonna have to stay in his division. If Ilya loses, then Sean is a double champ. He's a gigantic star. Yeah, I think definitely make this fight. Um, if you don't want to see this fight, I think you're kind of nuts. Because I understand Sean doesn't deserve it, but this would be an amazing build up, an amazing fight. Two huge names, two new champions. Get it done. Book this fight. Spain later this year. Dustin Poirier's next fight. I think it should be Max Holloway because I'm going with the loser of Holloway and Gaethje, which I think will be Holloway. And if Gaethje loses, then he can fight Gaethje. But I don't want him to fight the winner because I think the winner deserves a title shot. More so Gaethje than Holloway, but still, if Holloway comes down to lightweight and beats Gaethje, who's the number one contender, I think you got to give him the title shot. So, but I think Holloway's going to lose. So I think we do Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway later this year. I want to see that rematch. Big fight. I think Holloway can do better this time, but we'll see. I do think that's a great fight. Nobody's going to complain about seeing that. That fight will always be fireworks. So we move down to the next one. Michael Page versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is the fight to make. I don't care what you think. Wonderboy Thompson versus Michael Page. Do it in the UK, in Manchester. I know they're going to Manchester later this year. Also, I'll be making a UFC Manchester card builder later this week, so tune in for that if you're interested. Yeah, this is 100% the fight to make. Such an interesting stylistic matchup. I think Michael Page would sleep him with that right hand, which you know, that hurts to say because I am a big Wonder Boy fan. I'm from South Carolina. Wonder Boy's from South Carolina. He's one of my favorite fighters, but yeah, Wonder Boy versus Michael Page. That is the fight to make. We move on to the next one. JDM versus Shavkat. Put this in Perth. They're going to Perth in July, I think. Whether it's a fight night or a pay-per-view, if it's a fight night, this could be the main event. If it's a pay-per-view, this could be the co-main or the feature fight, depending on who they put on there. This is an amazing fight. This fight will be for the number one contender at welterweight after Bilal, because I really don't think they're going to deny Bilal a title shot. And if they do, as much as I would like to see that, that's wrong. You know, he's been chasing his dream his whole life. You can't just deny it, even though you don't like it, which I know a lot of fans don't, including myself. But you got to give him the title shot. Bilal deserves it, but whoever wins this fight, JDM versus Shavkat, definitely deserves a title shot. Unfortunately, I do think Shavkat would win, and I say unfortunately because I'm a big JDM fan, but that is a winnable matchup for him. Shavkat doesn't have the best head movement. JDM has good takedown defense, but we'll see. So, Kilder Jan versus Marlon Vera is 100% the fight to make. Vera, just got dominated by O'Malley. Jan just beat Song. He's back in the win column. I think this is a winnable fight for both of them. And whoever wins this one is right back in the mix. So I want to see this fight. It could be the most boring fight of all time, really, but I don't know. Book this fight sometime later this year, later half of this year, this summer, maybe August or September. Yeah, I think this is the fight to make next. But we will move on to hold on a second. Yeah, we'll move on to some other fights. So these are the losers of the main card. Benoit Saint Denis. I think he should be fighting Rafael dos Anjos next. You can't really give him an opponent ranked above him anymore because he did just lose his shot at the rankings above him. Um, I think that this is a very winnable matchup for him. I don't see RDA beating him, and this is a good fight. Get him back in the win column, and if RDA beats him, then that's a very good win for RDA. Just further solidifies his career. Yeah, I think this is a good fight. Maybe put this in France if they go later this year. Maybe they'll go in September again. Give Benoit some time off. Yeah, I think this is the fight to make for Benoit Saint Denis and RDA. But we will move on to welterweight Gilbert Burns. Sean Brady, Gilbert Burns. I think this has potential to be a very boring fight, but I really don't know who else to put against Gilbert Burns. Sean Brady, I think he does deserve a jump up again because he did his only loss is to Bilal, and he just came off a very impressive win over Kelvin Gastelum. So I do think he deserves a little bit of a jump up. Gilbert Burns is going to fall in the rankings after his recent loss, but yeah, I think this is the fight to make for Burns and Sean Brady. I don't know when they're going to do it. Burns is going to need some time off. I think Sean Brady got injured, so he might also need some time off. So I think this is a good fight to make for the both of them. But we will move on to Song Yadong. I think he should fight the winner of Davison Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt, which I think will be Davison Figueiredo. I think winner of this fight should get another shot at the top 5. I think Song would win this matchup, but you never know with Figueiredo, man. He's got a lot of power. He's, a flyweight coming up, so he's probably going to be more skilled. He's going to be fast. He's got good grappling. Yeah, I think this would be a great fight. Maybe they could put it in China later this year. Maybe they could, they might go to Brazil in maybe November for a fight night. This could be a fight night main event later this year in Brazil. This is a good fight. This is the fight to make next. Yeah, I think Song would win, but we'll see. Kevin Holland versus Renat. You guys might be confused, like, why are we making this fight? Renat is number 15. He just had a very, very close fight with Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. I think this is a winnable matchup for Kevin Holland, and that's why I'm doing this. I think this is a pretty close fight. If Renat wins, then we know he's sort of legit. Like, we know he is a top 15 guy, so I think he should take this fight to kind of, like, prove himself in the rankings, because, honestly, that win in his last fight was not impressive at all. A little bit of a letdown. But if he can beat Kevin Holland, then we know he does belong in the top 15. So, I think this would be a good fight. Maybe a prelim headliner or a feature fight of a prelim. On a pay-per-view this year. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good fight. I think it would be fun. Renat, very explosive guy, and in his past couple fights, he's dropped like everybody in the first 30 seconds. He comes out really fast. Kevin Holland, we know he's a fun fighter. Yeah, and Kevin Holland takes this fight and wins dominantly. I think he proves that he still belongs in the top 15, because I'm getting a little doubtful of him. So go out there and beat Renat, Kevin Holland. Yeah, this is the fight to make. So, next slide. Curtis Blades versus Tom Aspinall. They got unfinished business. Put this fight on UFC Manchester this summer. This is a great fight. I really want to see it. Who else is going to fight Tom Aspinall? Not Cyril Gane. Hell no. Cyril Gane does not deserve another title shot. Curtis Blades is coming off one win, but he did beat Jailton Almeida, who's on a tear, and that's a bad matchup for him. And, he beat Tom Aspinall. Obviously, that was a freak injury. They've got unfinished business. They both said it. They both want this fight. Tom Aspinall's in. Curtis wants it. Make this fight, man. Great fight. I want to see who wins it. I think Tom Aspinall would win pretty easily, but you never know. Can't count Curtis Blades out. I think it's a great fight. Put it on UFC Manchester. Boom. Got a great main event. Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. Gamrot is ruining everything, man. He's ruining it. I don't like him. But who else are we going to match him up against? I don't think he deserves a shot up the rankings for beating RDA. And he didn't really beat Fiziev. Fiziev tore his knee throwing a kick that he's thrown 10 million times in his life. So, yeah, I think if Gamrot can go out there and beat Hooker, then maybe he deserves another little jump up. But I do think this would be a pretty good fight. I would like to see it. You know, yeah, let's do it. Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. You could put this in Perth, or maybe if they go to Poland later this year, you could do that. I'd like to see it in Perth, but we'll see. We'll see. McCall, or not McCall, Michelle Pereira versus Kyle Baralho, and or Paul Craig, because Kyle Baralho and Paul Craig are scheduled to fight. I think Kyle Baralho is going to win. Michelle Pereira coming off two extremely impressive wins, like not even wins, just assassinations. He killed his opponent. Yeah, I want to see this fight. Whoever wins this fight, give him a shot at the top 5, I think. Make this fight later this year. If Paul Craig wins, then we do Michelle Pereira versus Paul Craig. But I want to get Michelle Pereira into the rankings really fast because I could see him smoking some guys like Brendan Allen. I could see him finishing Jared Cannonier in the first round. I think he's a very good fighter. I'm very high on him. And fuck all this. Let's give Ikram Aliskerov a shot at the top 10 bullshit. He's won 2 fights. He beat Warley Alves in his last fight. Michelle Pereira's win over Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is 10 times better than that. His win over Andre Petroski is better than that. He is the prospect at middleweight, other than Anthony Hernandez. Get him into the rankings, man. I think he'd smoke a guy like Brendan Allen. I want to see him get high in those rankings. He is one of my favorite fighters right now. He's extremely entertaining. Kyle Baralho, he's a great fighter. If he wins this fight, give him a shot at the top 5. We need some new guys at middleweight, and middleweight is getting better and better by the day. So, yeah, I think this is the fight to make. But we move on to Robelis Despain's next fight versus Rodrigo Nascimento, or Ferreira, whatever you want to call him. He is number 15 in the rankings. I say just give Despain this fight. We don't need to see him fight these bottom of the barrel fat guys. Nascimento is kind of like the leader of the fat guys, other than Tabora. And Tabora is not really fat. He's just a little pudgy. So I'd love to see this fight. I want Robelis in those rankings. I want to get him a shot at the top 5 in his next 2 or 3 fights because he's 35. I want to see if he really belongs or if he's going to get taken down and ragdolled by the next person he fights. So, yeah, that is the fight I want to see for Robelis Despain. You could put it in, fuck it. Put it on 301. Nascimento, I'm pretty sure he's Brazilian. Obviously, Despain's Cuban. That doesn't have anything to do with Brazil. But put it on UFC 301. They need some good fights on that card. And Robelis Despain should make a quick turnaround. I want to see him fight 3 or 4 times this year because he's getting old. He doesn't have a whole lot of time left in his prime. And I really just want to get this guy up into the rankings because he is the future. And yeah, that is what I think they should do for Robelis Despain. But we move on to Kyler Phillips. I think he should fight Umar Nurmagomedov next. And the person who wins this fight should fight the person who wins Song versus Figueiredo or Song versus Garbrandt. And then whoever wins that fight, we give him a shot in the top 5. And whoever loses the hypothetical fight between the winner of Song and Figueiredo and the winner of Phillips versus Nurmagomedov can fight Jonathan Martinez. So it's all like a circle. We're working all these guys up at bantamweight. A lot of prospects. The rankings are going to change soon. There are going to be a bunch of new guys, and we need to figure out who is at the top. So I think that is the fight to make for Kyler Phillips, and these are the fights to make after UFC 299. I will talk to you guys later. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what kind of fights you want to see. I'll talk to y'all later.